I'm Gresko. I'm a designer on StarCraft Ghost. You know, Blizzard's been wanting to come back to the consoles, you know, which is where they got their start. And they also have been wanting to revisit the StarCraft universe. And it seemed like just a perfect fit, especially when you think about the Ghost character and the gameplay involved with playing a Ghost and that sort of thing. It's just like, just seems so natural. This is really a unique situation because most of the time when you're a developer, you're working with a publisher that has like 50 or so titles that they have going at once, and it's a very different situation. This is very unique because we're really co-developing it with Blizzard. You know, Blizzard is providing content, and also, I mean, it's commonplace when you have a like a premier license to have that license holder heavily involved in making sure that you're following through on things correctly, and especially since we're actually continuing the story of StarCraft with this game, and they have plans for the future, or even after this game with StarCraft, to make sure everything kind of ties in and, you know, really flows well between all the games. Just continuity's there. So basically the role is a co-development sort of thing, and the amount of focus that we get on the product is it's unreal, because Blizzard just is known for just focusing on one title at a time, and you know, the next, especially now that War 3's out, we're getting a lot of focus, a lot of attention, and just a lot of great cooperation. I think we're all having a lot of fun. The storyline centers around Nova and her experience as a Ghost. You know, timeline-wise in the StarCraft universe, it comes in just at the end of Brood War. So you can think of the story for Ghost as being, you know, the next segment in whatever's going to happen in StarCraft in the future. And, you know, we do introduce a lot of new elements. They're going to be key for whatever comes next. And, you know, StarCraft's all about these hero characters, these like single individuals that make a real difference in turning the tide of the battle or whatever. It's like the Jim Raynor and Mengsk and Kerrigan. All those characters are really the key drivers of the story, and Nova is going to be one of these types of hero characters in the StarCraft universe. So it's great to introduce her, and there's also just a lot of other stuff that's going to happen that we can't talk about that is very cool, and I can already see what the plans are for the future. You know, they tell us some stuff, but there's a lot more going on, I think, even, you know, that we know about. So the first thing that we ran into when we tried to do it was we had to get the scale proper, because this is the first time you're seeing StarCraft in real 3D down on the ground. I mean, you know, you're looking up at a command center is very cool. You can still tell it's a command center, but it's enormous. You know, you think about the functionality of it, or a Goliath itself. So that was the first thing, was just trying to get the scale all right, and think about really how we're going to represent these things that used to be just sprites. But the way we looked at it was, you know, StarCraft PC was kind of an analogy for the battle that was going on anyway. So we were able to go in and just add a lot of details. And the coolest thing for us was being able to put the player in those vehicles, or in those buildings, or what does the inside of a refinery look like, or, you know, it's just, that's the coolest thing, I think, because now we're doing a lot of research, we're looking back at the sprites and what did they have in mind there, and, you know, actually being able to put the player inside there is cool and let them explore it. The gameplay is basically half and half interior stealth missions and large-scale battles, because basically that's where the Ghost special capabilities come in handy. The Ghost is a covert ops unit that can go in and do those stealth missions, take people out, infiltrate, steal information, whatever, and then on the big battlefield outside, they're the ones painting the targets. Like I said, they're the eyes and ears of the commanders on the battlefield. Because Ghost is so much about interacting with your environment and all the agility and grabbing on and climbing things, I mean, what does a ladder look like in a Zerg environment, you know? So we had to come up and think about all those things, because Ghost does rely on a lot of that kind of environmental interaction for gameplay, you know, not just jumping puzzles, but just looking at something and saying, how the heck am I going to get up there? And then you say, oh, I could grab onto this and then swing up here and tightrope walk over to this other thing, and, you know, kind of all that cool ninja stuff. You know? I think it's one of the things that really distinguishes it from a lot of the stealth action games, because it doesn't make sense for a Ghost to just be stuck to walking on the floors and walking around and not really utilizing the environment, because they're physically enhanced. You know, they've been trained, they're augmented with technology. Well, her key powers are the ability to use cloaking technology, which renders her almost entirely invisible. She also can use enhanced speed, which essentially makes the world around you slow down. It's sort of Matrix style, and lets you get in more attacks, move around. You can kind of circle around things. It also is utilized in some of these puzzles for getting around in environments. And then her enhanced sight, which is kind of like the ocular implants from StarCraft PC, and that basically allows you to see through walls, and also track heat signatures. You could tell, say, where like a Zerg had walked for a certain amount of time, and they all have different functions for combat and stealth. We're trying to make that all tie in together and really be utilized in the level. So you really are like using all those skills, and you know, oh, I know what I can do to get past this thing. I'll use this power, and then I'll go and use this weapon. We have a ton of weapons. I mean, Nova is able to use the Gauss rifle, obviously. We've also augmented it with different grenade types. You saw the flamethrower. And also she'll be able to use gun emplacements and other vehicles as well. So there's always little changes that you make to basically try to utilize the capabilities of each console to the best possible you can. Right now it's going along pretty well. You know, we're able to keep up almost all the features, and in the end we want them to look as close as possible to each other. Nihilistic's doing the Xbox and GameCube versions, and Blizzard has another company, Mass Media, doing the PlayStation 2 version. That's one of the things that's really helping us in this phase now, that we're like really just laying everything down that we wanted to have. So mostly it's contents, like actually like getting the missions finished and the environments and that sort of stuff. And then the big thing is going to be polish, because everyone knows that Blizzard, everything they put out is a gem, and it doesn't get that way on its own. It takes a lot of work, and that's the phase that's always up in the air. You never know. I mean, but that's also one of the great things of working with them, is that we know that it's not going to get rushed out the door, and we know that it's going to be great when it comes out.